Hello, YouTube and Reddit. This is Michael Bonmiller. I've got Say Norris on the phone. Say hi.
Everybody. Hello.
Hopefully you can hear her. If not, let me know. But we are answering questions on Reddit as the Black Piper. I put a link in the description, and we are going to be we'll be live casting this from YouTube. Don't know how that's going to go, but hey, this will be a lot of fun, won't it? So yeah, head over there, ask your questions, come back, chat, whatever you'd like to do, and this is going to be a fun couple of hours. So I'm just hitting save and notifying people right now. And apparently she's listening to me as well, so maybe you can hear me twice.
Too much output. Sorry. Computer volume turned down. Fixed. Okay, and I'm uploading all of our stuff to social media, so if you follow us there, we can have a link. Like, you want me to link to YouTube or Reddit?
Link to, well, you could link to the Reddit and say that we're, well, link to both. Just put both links in there if you can. I don't know.
I don't know that it will let me. Let me see if it will.
So, and then as soon as we have everything posted, we're going to start answering questions that have been accumulating throughout the day. It looks like there are 22 questions. Well, 21.
I thought like 24 listed, or maybe 24 comments.
There's 24 comments. 2 of them belong to us. One of them wasn't really a question, and it was the one that I was responding to. So other than that, 21 comments. Two people are watching now. I assume one of them is you, Say.
It's probably me and Richard.
I'm not watching myself, so that's...
Well, that's very restrained of you.
Yeah.
I would totally be watching myself.
Well, I am on the back end, the creator, but I don't think that they count me, so I don't count. So here we go.
Let me see if that will.
You posting to Facebook right now?
I'm posting to Twitter. I'm hoping that it will work with the word limit.
Richard says it's hard to hear you. Maybe I should try putting you closer to the laptop.
Is it? Dang it. I was hoping that would be better.
I gotta figure out where the microphone on this thing is. How's that, Richard?
Is that better, Richard?
There might be a little delay. As soon as he hears us say that, maybe he'll say something.
Okay, so Twitter, check. To Facebook.
Oh, I was looking to see if you posted on the Facebook.
It's not my comfort zone, so I thought I would just bust it out there. I get chatty on Facebook.
Aha.
I'm trying to keep it sweet and simple.
Well, just take whatever you posted on Twitter and repost it on Facebook.
Maybe I will.
A little.
I mean, that's a great idea, colleague.
Richard says it's a little better. I don't know where the... If I could just see where the microphone was, I could put this next to it.
The mic on your computer?
Yeah. Silly MacBook.
Where's the There are only so many, possibilities on a Mac. I don't know. I'm going to let you figure that out. I'm doing my job. I'm focused on the task at hand.
Sounds great. So she's posting to Facebook right now. Wish there was a better way so that they could hear you better.
As soon as I'm done typing, I'll like, is that better, Richard? If I hold my phone up to my mouth, because I'm got it set far away when I'm typing.
He'll let us know in a minute.
Okay. Right. Tell me. All right. Setting my phone down. Finishing my job. What? Okay. Turbo. Copy. Paste.
There are 4 people watching.
Yay!
Yay! One of them is my brother.
Hello, brother.
He thinks we should live stream music. I don't know how to do that.
That's a good idea.
That's
a really good idea. Can you put it on in the background? That's all you really need to do.
Richard says it's better. I'd have to start up my computer, but depends on what we wanted to stream.
You just need it in the background.
That's a good idea. Then I could sit and, like, you know, not say anything, and it'd be awesome.
Yeah, it definitely helps fill that space. Plus, we kind of need to show people what our music is. So, do you have a playlist of our artists? Well, we do. We have SoundCloud.
Yeah.
There.
Laptop speakers aren't the best, though.
Do you have monitors you can hook them up to?
Yeah. I'm going to start up my computer here. Give me 1 minute.
Okay. All right, to YouTube. YouTube. Here. Okay. Copy all. Oh. Hashtag Kaladin soundtrack. Hashtag.
Still getting the music up.
Okay. Copy. Publish. All right. Okay. Sharing. To a page. In a group. Group names. Stormlight Archive.
You should speak up more because I'm not saying anything, so it's probably really boring.
So, yeah, it's probably really awkward to watch. Sorry, I'm multitasking right now, and it's so hard to talk and type and cut and paste. Thanks to the click. Okay, I've just posted to our Facebook page and to Twitter and to the Facebook Stormlight Archive group, and I'm sharing to the COD group. I love these guys. Share it. Girl, Casimir, please. Casimir. Notes. Okay. Post. And I'm sharing it to my personal page.
Awesome. So for those joining us, I am preparing some music for the background because there are awkward silences here and there. I'm just logging in right now with that.
Well, we need to listen to our music, you know, since we're promoting actual music. Thought you guys might want to hear it in its entirety. So you can go to YouTube. Actually, you're on YouTube if you're listening to this, obviously. Anyways, that's what you'll be hearing is the music from our actual album. As soon as Mike gets that up and running.
All right, you're gonna have to help me with the. You're You're going to have to help me with the loudness here. Let's see.
Sure thing. We don't need to do a tech rehearsal. We got this. For the record, I asked for one of those earlier today. He's like, no, fine. How for thee? Sorry, guys.
All right, I put some music on, but it may be louder than I am. I don't know.
Let's give it a try. I hear nothing right now. I heard something a second ago, though. Yay! All right, share.
Okay, we should probably start answering some questions, right?
We need one for questions. We're 24 minutes late. 1 minute for every comment.
I'm not sure the music's that great idea. All right.
Why not?
Oh, I don't know how to get it so that they can hear the music without, and also hear us. Okay. Why don't we just start answering questions? If we have awkward silence, we can just fill it with silliness.
Let's start answering questions, boys. Start at the top?
Yeah. All right. So let's start at the top. If you, by chance, don't end up making the first goal for the Kickstarter, heaven forbid, will you be finding a different way to still produce the album? Because I really want this album to happen.
CG Go Lutch 77. And Regderson, this was my question as well. Master Black, if this Kickstarter does not end up being funded, will we still be able to find this and buy the music? The short answer is yes. The Kickstarter, can I take this for a second?
Sure, but do you want me to type and you talk, or?
Yeah, if you type, because I definitely can't type and talk at the same time. I suck.
Sure.
Hashtag blonde. So I'd say the short answer is yes. The Kickstarter is going to make the album reach its fullest potential, and that's what we want. We want swag packaging and cool artwork, a boatload of stuff to give you guys, and a lot more new songs. But, okay, sorry, messages popping up everywhere. But if for some reason we don't manage to reach our goal, and there's usually a big push at the end, and we're going to be up at Comic-Con giving some stuff out and promoting this, and they get a lot of traffic, and there's always a big rush. So, so I'm hoping that will help us reach our minimum goal. We've kind of been on track all month for doing that. But if we just barely miss it, then Mike and I are still working out the what's and the wherefores and the details behind it. But we have permission to sell the album itself. What we can't sell is all the perks that you see on the Kickstarter. So we can sell the standard edition of the packaging or the Kickstarter edition version, I think, if we can afford it. If we can raise the money for that. It just depends on what we can afford to create. And the question is, well, there's a big call for artwork. We want to be able to write more music, but we want to know, like, would you accept digital tracks versus live recordings? Like, because what we're set up right now is to do live recordings and it makes a really big difference. But the music itself is really sweet to listen to.
Well, that's a lot to type. So
bullet point 1, yes.
The short answer is yes. I've got that. The Kickstarter will help the album to reach its fullest potential. We have so much stuff we want to give you guys, including swag and a whole bunch of new songs. If for some reason we don't reach our full goal, and we're going to be at Comic-Con promoting this like crazy, we should be able to get our minimum goal. But if we don't quite make it, we have permission to still sell the album, but not the artwork.
Clarify that. I would just say the album only.
Okay, so the album only.
The album only, and then none of the Kickstarter's perks, including the art book.
Yeah, okay, the album only, and none of the Kickstarter perks. This is probably really loud, me typing on this like that. Hold on.
I can hear it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not distracting.
Kickstarter perks. Sorry, okay. We have permission to still sell the album only and none of the Kickstarter perks.
Including the art book. Because the art book is one that that was a goal 4 thing, and we brought it up to goal 1. Because there's such a demand for it. But if we don't make our first goal, then even that we won't be able to supply.
Yeah. Maybe we should also clarify that we have permission to use backer kit when it's done, which will allow us to continue selling some of that for a short period.
I think that we need to I think we still need to look into the fine print with that and see if that's pending on a successful Kickstarter or if we fail, because that kind of loses the stakes. You know, if it's an all or nothing, then that kind of wouldn't really be true. You know,
yeah.
I'm not sure how that works because I know backer kit isn't exactly Kickstarter, but it's associated with them. So I'm not sure. Like, we need to do our research on that and make sure that we can deliver on that.
All right, I won't put it. So
just clarify that we've got quite a few options that we're exploring.
Okay. All right, should I read that again?
Nah.
All right. Save. Boom. Our first answer.
Just kidding.
Cha-ching. We're doing good. What time is it? It's 7:30. It took us a half an hour to get here.
Sorry. Hey, people. Yay. Okay, could you... Strange verb.
ELI 5. Could you explain like I'm 5? A cinematic book soundtrack for people who wouldn't know.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, all right.
And they do, the Bulldog 6391, I love these names, actually answered kind of for us. The video on this Kickstarter does a good job of explaining it, and there is a link in there, and it really does explain it. So I would just reiterate that I would direct them to the Kickstarter video there, and maybe we can come back to that in a few minutes.
Well, we can skip it for now. We'll come back later. All right. Madcap Frown says, what made you pick Way of Kings and not another fantasy? Did this particular book or character really resonate with you? If so, how? Thanks for doing this. I backed the project long ago and am very excited for the end product. So let's start it here. Let's see.
That's raw, man. I don't know how to give a short answer to that, except are you able to, if they can do links, I would link them the interview to our 17th shard.
Yeah, I can do that.
Do that.
I'm going to start with, how much time do you have? Question mark.
Yeah, for real. Tell them that's really personal. Like, for me, it's really personal. The book did resonate, and all of that is answered in that interview.
Okay.
I don't think you want to type up my word vomit of an answer.
You had a very long answer, yes.
I had a very long answer, but it seems to resonate well with a lot of people, which I am feeling a little validated for. That's very nice.
So, how much time?
Thank him. Be sure to thank him or her. Madcap Frowns. Sorry to assume gender. But thank Madcap Cat frowns for their support, because if they backed this a while ago, that's a big deal. Why is this page loading? What do you want from me?
Let's see.
How's it going?
Lots of typing.
Faster, man. Sorry.
So let's see. MB says, "How much time do you have?" Question mark. And then SSN. In seriousness, this is actually a very long and personal thing. We answered. I'm just trying to format this.
I would say answered best here in the 17th Shard interview. I get really raw and personal.
17th Shard interview. I get really raw and not raw and wiggly.
No, that definitely creates a different picture.
That's a Lord of the Rings reference.
It's what?
It's a Lord of the Rings reference.
Is? Oh yeah, it is.
Would you like some raw and wiggly?
And wriggling.
Sorry.
Wow, I didn't know you could do that. Precious.
So precious.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad we're live right now.
Hey, I'm probably read like a beet. All right.
No.
Thank you so much for your support. What? Support/donation. 3 exclamation marks and save.
Good job, man.
2.
Yay.
5 minutes for that one. That wasn't as bad, you know. We've reduced it 1/6 of the time. All right, we're moving. We already did the next one by Many Faced Cloak, so let's go to Wish for a Giraffe, who is apparently a reading champion in 2016. I wish I could have been a reading champion.
Wait, what?
Wish for a Giraffe.
Is a reading champion 2016. Well done.
And he belongs to the World Builders.
I'm a little intimidated by that. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel you. I'm completely there with you. All right, so he said, or she, whoever's wishing for a giraffe, says, will the music be long enough to read and listen at the right pace, or is it intended to stand on its own and evoke certain scenes?
I would say it's a little bit of both, but more of the latter, because there's no way to gauge. Like, we all read at different speeds, so there's no way to gauge that.
Yep, definitely.
Computer's like waiting, holding back my answers.
Yeah. You gotta slow down. I'm typing. Okay, there's a little bit of both. Definitely a bit more of the latter. It's hard to gauge different people's reading pace.
So what we did was I answered this, I think, on our 17th chart thing as well. But we actually blocked the music to the ratio of the story beats in the scene. So
I'm not sure anybody's going to understand that technical jargon.
Maybe I answered that on Brandon's Facebook page, because I got a few questions like that, and that seems to answer or get a few likes. So, but what that means is basically if we have one scene, okay, so...
Well, we could just answer it like this. We could say that we took the book and took it as if it were a movie, imagined the scenes, and wrote music to those scenes, essentially.
Yes. But he's wanting to know, like, will it distract as he's reading it? And My personal experience and the experience from our focus group has been that it hasn't been a distraction, mostly because the song that's being played during the scene, even if the song stops before you're done reading the chapter, the elements of the song still capture the energy and the emotions and the themes that are being expressed in the story. So even if you're not reading it exactly beat for beat along with the music, if you play the track on repeat, or if you just have the soundtrack there, you're still kind of transported to the world. So it's such a fluid experience. Like, there's no one way to experience the album.
That was a lot, and I can't type that fast, so let's break it down.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of giving my wordy answers for the sake of those who are watching on YouTube.
Absolutely. So now we'll pare it down a little bit. So what I have so far is it's a little bit of both, definitely a bit more of the latter. It's hard to gauge different people's reading pace. So what we did was...
Just erase that part. Just tell them that there's more than one way to experience the album.
So erase all of it?
No, just where you started to pick up with what we did was, like, let's just not bother explaining that. And if he wants more information, he can ask and invite him to ask for more information, because Stacey is obviously willing to explain it.
It's a little bit of both, definitely a bit more of the latter. Hard to gauge different people's reading pace, but I had a thought. I don't have this thought.
We said there's more than one way to experience the album.
But there's more than one way to experience the album. Great question.
Yay!
Exclamation mark. Save. Okay. On to Maen's Mand. Main's Mand. I should not even try to pronounce these things.
I know, either, so it's like, I don't know. I'm sorry to offend you. Maybe they'll appreciate us trying.
Completely apologize. All right. This person, or group of people, I can't assume, says, looking forward to the album big time. Yay!
Yay!
Hooray! My question is, will you be able to complete the whole album, 2 discs and all, from where things are at currently? If not, what needs to happen to get you guys there? The only thing worse than no album would be knowing that we could have gotten twice as much album if we just done something different. Cheers, guys. I think you're doing something really awesome.
Thanks, Mains Man. You're awesome.
Yeah. No, you awesome.
No, you. Well, all right. I accept. I'm awesome.
All right. We are all awesome.
People are wondering why Silfrina's my favorite character. That's why. I am a god.
We've got people listening from Costa Rica, by the way. This is awesome.
Hello.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
They are the Tico Men. And
nice.
Did I tell you that I'm half Costa Rican?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yes. So we've got a connection, me and the Tico Men.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Well, hello and welcome. And nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay, so for this, this is a slightly different take on the question that started out all of this. We really can't, as is, record new music. So that's the distinction. Is we can write more music, we just can't record more music, and that's the expensive detail.
Yeah, expensive. Recording is rather expensive. It doesn't. We really can't record new music as is. We can write new music.
Really can't.
Yep.
But they should know that. Well, somebody answers that question there. Let's focus.
Focus.
So, whole album, 2 discs and all, from where things are at currently. Not live music, no. And really, Mike and I, you and I haven't really discussed what we wanted. We just broached this conversation the other day and didn't really explore it. It's on our to-do list, but I suggested we could possibly write music and offer it as digital tracks.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't have the same oomph and sexiness that a live recording has. And some of our listeners, even on Reddit here, that's one of the first things they noticed. And we all use different MIDI, so we'd have to, if we do that, we would have to kind of redo some things and make sure that it's all, consistent, so that it's as nice as it sounds, it's as consistent as it sounds. We might be able to wrangle up some money to mix it, but maybe not with the current mixer that we have attached.
That's true. We could possibly mix it. Still won't be as good as recording it live, right? But
right, like the choir, we could hire a local choir instead of using London singers.
It still costs. It's like
still costs
a few $1,000s.
I might be able to get us a deal with a different group that does film soundtracks, because I know one of the guys that's one of their top dogs. But that it's the things we have to explore and crunch the numbers and see what we can do, essentially.
Exactly.
But if we did electronic, maybe we could just record the solos and or choir. Or, we just have to pick our battles. It's a whole different strategy. I'm of the opinion I would like to try that. I at least want to explore it and see what we can get away with.
On a different album.
Well, no, we're actually only contracted. We can only release one album.
No, what I mean is not necessarily a brand new album, but a future album, right? Or you're talking about this album?
I'm talking about this album. This guy's asking about the Stormlight music. He wants to know. He or she, sorry. Mains Man wants to know what do they have to do? What's on them? How close are we? What do we need to be able to record or to provide all of the music tracks? So, barring all of our Kickstarter perks and our rewards and everything, once we reach $110,000, how much do we need to raise?
Yeah.
And I think we've started to have that conversation. I don't remember if you uploaded that info. Remember, I was like, let's just break it down by session.
Yeah. Well, we broke it up by goals, and we've got our first goal where it's our primary goal that lets us mix what we have, and then our second goal it's got numbers attached to it, but that lets us record more music, but in prog, and that gives us 2 sessions. And then we have a third goal, which gives us another couple of sessions, basically finishing off the tracks in the album. And then finally, the fourth goal would allow us to also record in London.
Right?
So.
Yes. So, I guess the answer to that is we need to reach our minimum goal to be able to record what we have, but to record new songs, that's what you need to type, basically, are our goals, so that he can see that, because our playlist expands, but it doesn't double.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this is going to take a minute to type, so, sit back and enjoy some say talking about random things.
I can awkwardly talk about random things.
We can awkwardly silence.
Yay!
But you can awkwardly silence better than I can, so I'll type and you can do the awkward silence.
I can fill the awkward silence. You type. And ignore me. Try to tune me out.
This is going to be hard.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do you want to mute your phone for a second?
No, because they need to hear something, right?
Oh yeah, because you guys all need to hear me. Sorry. This must be what Kaladin feels like with Syl chatting in his ear all the time. I'm always yammering off to Mike while I give him tasks to do. So, okie smokies. So let me just pull up our page and let me see if I can expound on what he's saying. Kickstarter.
We really can't record new music as is. We can write new music. Recording is rather expensive. We could write MIDI tracks, but they won't be nearly as compelling as recording with an orchestra.
I think you're underselling that a little bit. I mean, we don't want to dumb it down that much. We just want to say it won't be as cool, but not nearly as cool. I still get excited. I never get sick of listening to our digital tracks. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But, you know, it's still like, it's like a whole other level when you record with an orchestra.
It is. See, now that's good phrasing. It's a whole other level. But I wouldn't emphasize that anything we put out would be subpar, because it's not.
Very true. A live orchestra. We must be entertaining enough for at least 7 people now.
Hey! Hello, 7 people.
Oh, hey, one of them's Natalie Rogers.
Natalie!
Hi, Natalie.
Oh! Okay, I got this. You type.
Okay, good. Let me try.
Natalie, for those who don't know, Awkward Bird is a thing, and I think it's her. Girl, do you want to can you comment, type your link in here to your work? I can't remember. It's like Raven's Ribbon on Tumblr. But Natalie is an awesome artist who does a lot of very moving and emotional work. It always either makes me personally laugh or get the feels right in the hard spots. She has a really good way of accessing vulnerability. So we're very excited that Natalie is providing artwork for our stuff, and she has been one of our earliest supporters and is really going above and beyond in supporting us and trying to help us succeed. If you back our project, even if you back our minimally, you get a free wallpaper from her, a digital print / wallpaper. I think we haven't decided yet which one we're going to do. But she offered to do that, and we're very excited about that. So if you want freebies from Natalie, that's the way. We love you, Natalie.
Yes, we definitely love you, Natalie.
Plus, she's hilarious. Let's be honest. Natalie always makes my day. She's so funny. She's so good. Like, some of her drawings, especially of animals, are really realistic.
Yeah?
Crazy realistic. It's insane. I cannot draw stick people, so I find that very impressive. Quite a skill. Wow. What?
Third goal. I'm just typing up notes here for this guy.
Okay.
Record all the songs. So I'm talking about the third goal right now. Say, in order to record new music, we need to reach our second and third goals. By reaching our third goal, we can record all the songs we want. By reaching our fourth goal, we then can record with some of the world's best players.
No joke, people. No joke. Serious non-disclosures in place.
Well, London Symphony Orchestra, how's that for non-disclosure? No, there's no disclosure there. That's who we want to record with. London Symphony Orchestra. That's who I'm talking about. Fourth goal.
Oh, sorry.
LSO in London, obviously.
I think that's first on the list.
Abbey Road with exclamation marks.
All right, definitely no non-disclosures there. Let's brag it up. Those guys are awesome. They're really good. They're so good. And they're still cheaper than LA.
Are you seeing what Natalie's writing? She's like we must have some kind of a delay here, maybe like a half a minute or a minute delay or something.
There's a delay on there. Oh, I'm seeing lots of comments on the live chat.
You should also keep them happy in the live chat too.
Sorry, I will be reading these things.
Can you think, write, and chat at the same time?
No, without having a seizure. No. Everyone's a sucker for kids. You should have shown. Can you hear say, that's me, blah, 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 blah. Give me the mod. If anybody wants to know what I'm saying, I am live chatting. This is also how a lot of our phone conversations go with me and Mike, because he types a lot of my stuff for me. I am always just speed reading out loud. Use this for your audio so you can stream your music. Oh, we're getting tech support.
Ooh.
Kikoman. Oh, that's where it looks. Hola, Tico Man. Hello.
OBS.
Had a brain fart. Hello, Natalie. If you can't hear Say, she's asking Natalie to copy a link here. Yay, erupted. Hooray. Ancient Myth, I'm sending a link to help you share your stream and ask people to kindly share. I'll go get a link to my Cosmere stuff. Hooray. Who's Ancient Myth?
That's my brother.
Oh. Very helpful.
Hello, my brother.
I'm thoroughly blushing right now, sis. I'm excited. I don't think these guys know how intimidated I get talking to them. I always get nervous when I approach artists, so I'm very honored that Natalie is on our project. It's geeky. We all like each other's work, and we've got an intimidating team of people. And she does make me laugh and cry. Both work. Yay! All right. I'm caught up on our lives. I love Natalie so much.
Yeah.
Are there other artists on here?
We love Natalie so much. Well, if they would say hello, that would be awesome.
Say hello, artists, if you're attached to this project. I should give a shout out to Seth Keller, by the way, who... Poor dude. We've been so busy with the Kaladin Kickstarter. I haven't been able to be as quick with all of my feedback for his art. It kind of hit a lull with him. But Seth Keller is the one designing all of our art cards. Hard to say. And we knew we wanted to do art cards, and I was looking at artists, and I knew the art cards I wanted them to look a little bit different and be really distinct from a typical, collecting card. And when I saw Seth's version of an Art Nouveau of Jasna, I just about had a heart attack. It was an out-of-body experience because it was so good. So I'm really happy that we got him attached to the project, and he has been a champ and a half, busting these art cards out pretty dang fast. So the art cards are kind of a basic reward you get with all of our tiers. So, but you can sign up for how many you get. I think the idea is that physically, if you don't purchase the whole set, we're going to include one printed in all of our physical copies of our CDs that you purchase, and a digital print with all of our digital copies, but it will be a random assignment. So shout out to Seth Keller and his beautiful work. Check out his art cards on our Kickstarter. Oh man, yeah.
Seth Keller's pretty great too, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Oh.
But Seth's not online right now. Natalie is.
Natalie is. I know. And now I'm just talking about all the other cool art stuff. It got me on a tangent.
She likes tangents a lot. I have to be really careful because I like tangents too. and when I have a tangent and she has a tangent, then we have to figure out where we started. So.
Yeah, it's our conversations tend to get really. Let's just chat really quick. Usually turn into 3-hour conversations.
It's a short one. Well, a 3-hour one is a short one. So.
A 3-hour one is a short one, and it usually ends up with us doing more work. Dang it. So, we should also give a shout out to the amazing Botanica Sue, who is providing our bookmarks. Y'all, if you don't know who Botanica Sue is, I don't know. I just get out, because she is a phenomenally talented artist who does a lot of Stormlight stuff, and she is a big Stormlight fan, and it shows in the quality and the passion of her work. She's got a really distinct style, so you can see her in our bookmarks, which are really easy to get when you back our Kickstarter. So, I'm excited about the bookmark. I'm so excited about all of our reviewers.
Oh yeah, me too. No kidding. Okay, so one thing that this poster question asker asked here was what we needed to do to get us to the place where we could have 2 albums. And so I'm kind of answering that. I've got 3 things so far. One is that you can share with everyone you know personally. If you know anyone in the media or any influencers, let them know how excited you are. Number 2, well, what's that? Oh, for you, for real?
Yeah, I'm just agreeing with you. Go on.
Well, continue to agree with me. Number 2, pledge as much as you can. You're not limited to the amount of a particular tier. Number 3, look through the page and find some add-ons you'd like to purchase and increase your pledge to match what you'd like. Okay, anything else they can do to help get us
We just need a lot of money. Money is what's going to make the album happen.
Yeah.
That is the bottom line. So behind your action, we need people. A lot of people like our stuff, but they don't like and share. So if you're liking our stuff, retweet it, share it, give a personal message, tell people how passionate about the project you are, because we know. So while it's validating and helps us get through the rough times, we need you guys to get more active, and we need you to support. We need as many eyes on this as possible, and we're doing what we can. But I think our community could probably step it up a little bit. To be honest.
Well, I'll say it like this. I say. This is the biggest thing. Like, retweet, share what we put on our social media. We need as much activity, passion, and excitement as we can get. We need as many eyes on this as possible.
Yes. And give us your lunch money.
Say says to give us your lunch money.
For real, though. For real. I would be okay with that. I have donated many's a lunch money to this project.
Okay, so would you like me to read the whole thing?
No.
Well, I don't know if I answered everything that you were talking about, so maybe you could go over it after I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would say that just clarify what our goals are, and then maybe add a link to our Kickstarter page there.
Okay, let's see here.
Let's make it as easy as possible.
Send people to Project Kaladin.
Stare at them awkwardly until they give us money. Just kidding. But not really. Alright, I'm just kidding. Kind of.
Okay, send people to funprojectkaladin.com. Make sure they have a call to action.
Yes. They need to know what to do. If they back, they need to get people, they need to tell people about it.
I literally wrote that in there. Make sure they have a call to action.
Excellent.
All right. I'm hitting save. I hope I didn't miss anything. We can go back and review this later, I suppose, and add follow-up comments. All right. Well, that one took a little more than 5 minutes.
Well, it was a very involved question.
Indeed. All right. We've got a gifted violet. I'm not making any assumptions on these. So, are you intending to make soundtracks for the Way of Kings and other Stormlight books? Way of Kings, yes. We are doing Way of Kings.
Carefully.
Yes, yes, we are. So
No.
we are currently working on. Well, we're working on the Way of Kings, right?
We're not doing the full Way of Kings. So we're telling Kaladin's point of view.
Right.
We're not doing the flashbacks. We're not doing the interludes. We're not doing Shallan. We're not doing. Dalinar's stuff is an unlockable achievement down the road, but we're not covering the whole book.
Okay.
And we don't have permission to do the whole book because we can't. We have a limit on the amount of music minutes we're allowed to put out. So.
So the way we should tell it then is, well, you answered this somewhere. Where did you? Oh, it was on the 17th shard. Why don't I
think so.
I'll copy and paste that. How's that?
Copy and paste that if you're feeling lazy. I think it's an easy enough thing to answer. But yeah, definitely post. The more people that see that interview, the interview tends to generate a lot of traffic. So, because it's not just information, it's the personal stuff seemed to really resonate with people.
Right,
so I think that's a good thing for people to see.
You answered. What's a good way to say this? We actually answered this
here in our interview with the 17th shard.
Here in our, I'll just do you verbatim here in our interview.
It's really for the best.
17. Some ego you have there.
Always. I am a god.
All right. I'm going to refresh the page just in case I'm missing any comments. So we're up to 32 comments, including ours.
Sweet.
Oh, on the one where I asked him how much time do you have? Him, her, them. They said, I have all the time in the world.
Oh, perfect. Read the review. Sweet. I will most definitely read the review. You're right. Oh, yeah. People are actually starting to answer. Hooray!
Alex waves. Oh.
What?
Oh, no, I'm just, sorry, reading new questions. I did not see these questions before. Let's just keep going, I guess. We answered this. Okay, from JMC Git. Have you been inspired by any other literature-based soundtracks? I only know of a couple of examples myself, but I was interested in whether you had any recommendations or if this is a more unusual concept. All right, I've got this one.
All right, because I'm like, meh.
Yep.
Our music is the best. We are. Right, I'll let you answer that one. I am on an ego trip.
So there aren't a whole lot of literature-based soundtracks. And even fewer are orchestral/cinematic literature-based soundtracks. You can keep talking if you want now. I can.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on some stuff.
I'm gonna go into typing mode.
We do have more questions. Yay! All right, cool. Sir, yeah. You said you got this. I didn't want to distract you.
Yeah. Well, no, go ahead. You can talk.
I was monologuing.
Monologue away.
Weird about.
Oh, are you there? Oh, technical difficulty. We lost Say. I'll call her back. Calling Say.
Pretty sure that wasn't my fault.
Wasn't mine. I didn't touch the phone.
No! It was my fault. Dang it!
totally T-Mobile's fault. Sorry. T-Mobile.
For me, I genuinely thought that we were the first people that had done this. So I hadn't heard of it when Michael pitched the idea. When I told him when we first were meeting, and he and Richard said that they wanted to do an album, and they had these composers, and they had a general concept, and it was way too vague and way too open to interpretation musically. And there was nothing uniting them. There was nothing uniting them. So I told them that they needed a story. To their music, the album needed to tell a story, and sent them on their way. And I really didn't expect to hear back from them. And then a few weeks later, Mike emailed me and says that he was reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. And again, the interview at 17 Starred, you can read it for a little bit more. If I don't have to, because it's very emotional and I'm in a good mood. But I go into depth there. But I hadn't heard, the thought of doing music to an actual book made sense to me. And I wondered how it wasn't a thing, and now I know it's freakishly expensive to do. But looking at the examples, when we did our research, nobody's done one the way we're doing it. Nobody's done one as cinematically as we're taking our approach. There's one group of people that do this, and you can adjust the pace to which the music is played back to match your reading style, but the music is very thematic and vague, and it's not really personal, you know. It sets a mood, but it's a generic mood. So, but it's cheap and effective, and they do a good job with it. And some of the music on their stuff is actually pretty good, and I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. But and then there's the Star Wars thingy that Mike refers to. It feels more like a live concert. It's very classically inclined. It's not really music. It looks like it would be better performed to a stage production than listening to while you're reading, because the music is very loud and it's big and it's busy, because the music is telling the story and it's not supplementing the story. So what we're doing is basically taking the cinematic approach, and because that's the medium we all work in. We all work in film. So this is a more cinematic approach. Films you can plug. You wouldn't play the music necessarily along with the movie, although you can, or you can have the movie playing and the volume turned down and listening to the soundtrack, or you can just play the soundtrack whenever you want to be transported to the world. And that's what this is. But we wanted to give it that polish that cinema soundtracks have. So I don't think that's been done before. I think we're doing something new. So there. You do not have to type any of that. I'm just filling the space while you're typing.
No, that's great. I did type a tiny bit of it, actually, but
for
not all of it.
Live people, I guess.
Yeah. They get extra behind the scenes.
Yep, for sure. That's the idea.
Because you guys are awesome. You actually sit there long enough to stare at my ugly mug and listen to us prattle. So you get more story. I guess it's a trade-off.
Definitely a payoff.
Hey, wait a minute. What are you trying to say?
I'm distracting you.
Well, I could have taken that as if you were agreeing with me about my ugly mug.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I won't. Ugly mug. I didn't mean that. You're not ugly. You're beautiful. So beautiful.
All right, so this is what I have for an answer so far. SSN. I genuinely thought that we were the first to do this. I had never heard of anything like this before. When I first met Michael and Richard, I'd heard their music, which was really good. I put that in there for you. But I told them that their music needed to tell a story. MB. So there aren't a whole lot of literature-based soundtracks, and even fewer are orchestral/cinematic literature-based soundtracks. These include one for a Star Wars book called Shadows of the Empire, as well as as well as a couple that are based on The Lord of the Rings. These are pretty good, although I haven't heard the one written by Chance Thomas yet, as it's just recently been released, but I can guarantee it's pretty great.
Chance is doing one?
I don't know if it's a book soundtrack or what. I just remember seeing a post by him that said he was doing a soundtrack or some music that was based on some literature, and then a little while later I see that he puts out a Lord of the Rings thing, but it could just be his his music for the video game, you know, like the 10-year anniversary or something.
Christina's doing one.
Yeah.
Our very own Parshendi language creator / musician is Christina Bishop is doing one as well. I think
collectively we're going to start a revolution here.
Yeah, we want to kind of start the trend.
That's right. Okay, I pushed go on that. All right. All right, here's a good question. I've been looking forward to answering this one all day. It is by Regdar Sun, and again, no assumptions. You know, I can't say if that's a male or female, even though it says sun. What is your guys' favorite type of muffins? This is a very important question.
It's a very personal question as well,
personal.
I might add.
Okay, I'll start it that way. This is a very personal question. And I'm going to push save and leave it at that.
No, don't dare.
I want to so bad. That would be such a John Cleese answer.
It's too personal, man.
It's too personal. This is a very personal question.
There we go.
SSN. Do you want to answer or shall I?
Are you doing my "it's too soon" thing? That's funny.
It's too soon?
It's all right. I don't think they can catch our tone if they're not listening live.
Probably not.
I tell them I'm celiac, so I have to have finding good muffins is sort of a holy grail for me. So I really just make my own, and I like blueberry muffins.
So I usually just make my own. I like blueberry. I can spell blueberry.
Blueberry.
I'll spell it in English. Wait.
BLOOBURR.
I like blubbery muffins. Okay, what else?
Blubbery muffins with cinnamon and sugar on top.
Oh yeah.
Gluten free.
With cinnamon and sugar on top. Gluten free.
No.
MB. I like blue. No, yellow. Ah!
Blue. No, green. It's blue and green. So you know.
Did you catch that reference?
Oh, yeah.
Monty Python.
No, green.
Blue. No, yellow. Ah!
What is the air velocity of an African swallow? African or European? I didn't know that. How did you know that, sire? When you're king, you have to know these things. Yeah, I got the reference. You know, once or twice.
Yep. I can't tell.
Money Python.
What's that kind with the poppy seed? There we go.
Poppy seed. I haven't had poppy seed muffin in years. I'm so hungry.
All right, this is my answer. I said, I like blue, no yellow. Ah, more seriously though, definitely chocolate. Well, also blueberry. Okay, also poppy seed. Basically, Costco muffins are the best.
Chocolate muffins sound good.
It didn't. Why didn't it put it on a new line? That should be a new line. Here, new line. There we go. All right, time for a refresh. I'm just curious to see if any other stuff is popping up. We're taking so long in between each answer, and anybody who's replying to our replies have got to be just sitting at the computer.
The last person submitted a question about 40 minutes ago. Oh, and that was Madcap Frowns replying to us.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Madcap Frown.
I have all the time in the world.
Oh, that one, yes.
Yeah.
Well, all right, next question. Red Flag Bear is asking...
That's a questionable name.
What's Brandon's involvement with the project? Is there some sort of revenue sharing with him? My reply is, what do you think? Just kidding.
No, don't be facetious. Don't ask them what they think. That might come across as sarcastic, and sarcasm doesn't read.
Yeah.
Yes, Brandon is officially, this is officially licensed stuff, but Brandon isn't really giving feedback, although his team does give final approval on everything.
Well, I know that, but let's put it into words.
Revenue sharing. Of course he gets revenue.
How would you put that for a text answer? This.
I would say the first question, so what's Brandon's involvement with the project? I would say Brandon isn't personally involved. Although his team does give final approval on all of our artwork, media output, and music.
Of our artwork, media output, and music.
We've been working very closely with his team these past few years to make sure everything is up to snuff. And yes, Brandon absolutely gets a percentage of our profits, but we can't really divulge beyond that.
That's as far as we can answer. All right. Yes, Brandon absolutely gets a portion of the profits, but that's as far as we can answer. Okay. Natalie liked our commentary on the muffins.
Yay!
Natalie, were you the one to ask the question about the muffins?
I don't know that Natalie was the one.
Well, she could be hiding behind some mask of a handle.
I don't even know what the word is. Pseudonym.
Pseudonym.
Is the word. I know the word. I'm surprised myself.
Do illustrators have pseudonyms like authors do?
Like Say. It's not my real name.
Say is not your real name. It isn't?
No. How long have you known me? You didn't know that?
Yes, I knew that.
By the way, it's nice to meet you. Things you don't know about me, Mike.
Yeah. Okay.
Personal things.
Okay, Jennifer. Okay. The Desert Hobo. I like that name.
I like it too. I love all these names.
Will there be tracks for the interludes or just the more prominent chapter? Best of luck hitting the goal number.
Hold up. Where are you? I think you skipped something.
I didn't. Oh, I did skip something.
Yeah.
Because it looked like I had replied, but I didn't. Okay, going back up. Sorry. Cancel. Scratch that. Reverse.
Coming back. We'll come back to you. We promise. We're just doing this. The people that posted first get answered first.
Top priority. All right. Yeah. So we're looking at. Oh, and I had to refresh the page. Way to go.
Marry me, Popper.
Marry me, Popper. Marry me.
I don't know.
Mira me Popper. I don't know. I like it. Whatever it is. How much of the music has been recorded by an orchestra versus digitally created at the moment? My response is all of it.
All the music. We've already recorded it.
Okay.
12 songs. Clarify that that's 12 songs. So our first goal playlist, or is it 14? 14 songs. That's all been recorded.
Wait. I need to look at the playlist because it may be 13 because one of them we wanted to re-record because we aren't using that one.
Oh, yeah.
So it might be 13, might be 14.
13 or 14 songs.
Okay, so we've recorded
That was 6 years ago.
13 or 14. Yeah, it's been a little while. Ooh, I have something in mind.
All muffin related questions. So do we, Natalie.
Let's go back to the muffin question. Yeah.
I really want muffins. Gosh, like.
Oh, way to go! I need my dinner. That's what I need. I'm not gonna. Yeah. Okay. All of it. So we have recorded 13 or 14 songs. All of them were created digitally first, and then turned into sheet music for the orchestra to play. To play. Thank you. Yes, there we go. That answers it. Done.
Okay, so but then CG Letch 77, who I think is a repeat
awesome.
commenter. That's a good question. Like, could you take what you already have and release it for cheaper, then use that money to fund the fully orchestrated version, and those who purchase the version get a discount on the final release? I think he's asking if, well, I don't know, if he's wanting, obviously what we've already recorded is there. We need to mix. The mixing is why you guys are all listening to digital tracks, even though we've gone public. It's expensive to mix these properly. But I'm wondering if he's wondering if could we take what we already have and release it for cheaper, then use that money to fund the fully orchestrated version. Nope, that's our plan. That literally describes what goal 1 is. And those who purchase the first version get a discount on the final release. Also, goal 1. So, but if you Kickstarter, that's clearly not clear. Clearly not clear. I don't know, are we answering that question?
Are we answering I'm going to answer the question. Yeah, I'm answering every question.
Well, I mean, obviously, did that answer person question?
He answered it to me, but you didn't answer it to him, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, sorry, I went on a word vomit spew, as I tend to do.
Okay, so good back. So goal 1, no, so we already have recorded what we are going to release for goal 1. No, that's not a good way to say it, is it?
What?
That's a terrible way to say that.
It's terrible.
Why don't you just dictate it? I'll just sit here and I'll write whatever you say.
Well, what? Whatever I say? I'm looking at muffin recipes, right?
Okay, never mind. Scratch that.
I'm paying attention. Right. What am I doing? That's a good question. Could you take... Okay. So to answer this person's question, he asks 2 questions. So 1, could you take what you already have and release it for cheaper, then use that money to fund the fully orchestrated version?
So that's the first question. So yeah, so...
first question, that's what our plan is with goal 1, but it only includes our current playlist.
Okay, so our plan with goal 1 is to release our fully orchestrated versions. Goal 1 will allow us to mix what we already have recorded with goal 2, we would write new music and also orchestrate and record it. Since we already have 13 or 14 songs recorded with a live orchestra, or I can spell orchestra, orchestra.
You got this.
Recorded with a live orchestra. We wouldn't want to mix that with some unorchestrated I can spell
You're
orchestra.
killing me. Yeah,
Am I talking too slow for you?
It's just like kind of listening to paint dry, which I didn't know was a thing until now.
I am smashing the phone with my fist right now.
I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying because you're speaking too slow as you're speaking. So.
You're just thinking about muffins.
What?
All right.
I have some very good muffin recipes that pulled up. Thank you very much.
All right, I'll read it to you. Our plan with Goal 1 is to release our fully orchestrated versions. Goal 1 will allow us to mix what we already have recorded. With Goal 2, we would write new music and also orchestrate and record it. Since we already have 13 or 14 songs recorded with a live orchestra, we wouldn't want to mix that with unorchestrated songs.
But I'd be willing to. If there's some big enough call for it, if people want, I'm really bummed. I would be heartbroken if we don't get to write the Bridge 4 stuff at the very least.
How kosher would that be? That's okay. Time for a discussion, I guess. I'm
right.
gonna push pause. This is great. I'm glad we're doing the behind the scenes now because we're actually going to have.
This is what it looks like.
This is real.
Lock horns.
Yeah,
this is what the troubleshoot looks like.
That's right. All right, so you're thinking we could take what we've got, run with it, and we're good enough at orchestrating stuff, or what we call in the music world making mock-ups.
Yeah.
We're good enough at mocking it up that it'll sound okay, releasing it together with the orchestrated stuff.
Because I listen to our demos that we have that have already been mixed. I listen to our comps that haven't been mixed versus the live, on our playlist that I've got that I listen to 24/7 for years and years. It holds up, it's the story, the music itself is so powerful that I think it would fill a hole that would be significantly missing. It's the lack of Bridge 4 music elements, especially, we really only have 2 Bridge 4 scenes in there, and they're the end ones. We don't really have his introduction to Bridge 4 and when they start to come together as a team on the battlefield. There's a lot that's missing there spiritually and emotionally that is so important. And I think some of the setup, Dalinar stuff, especially with Oathbringer coming out, I think people would really like having some of the Blackthorns music in there and Seth's stuff. I just think that people might find it worth it. So let's ask them, what do you guys think about this? Because we're typing in here.
Uh-oh.
Live stream got cut off. Did it?
Yeah, it's cut off at the moment. I'm trying. Oh, it's live. We're back on.
Oh dear! How much of that did they miss?
I don't know how much they missed. We can't ask them because they wouldn't know.
In the middle of my Bridge 4 explanation. So I guess that's actually, you didn't miss too much. So I was just saying that I think we could pull it off digitally. I think that we could, with some scrappiness, I think we could make the album work. I know I word vomited for about 2 minutes, but the gist of what I said was Sorry, Richard keeps typing in to tell me what he missed. I think we could pull it off. You know, again, it wouldn't be as beautiful and as polished, but I also think that when I'm listening to my playlist, I really wish that those other songs were there, and I have like my supplementary playlist stuff. But the whole point of our album is so that people don't have to do that. They can listen to our playlist when they get in the Stormlight mood.
Yeah. Well, I also think it depends on the particular composer and the style of the song. Caleb's music absolutely works as mock-ups. Like, they're incredible, they're powerful. But I mean, like it's the style, partly the style that he writes, and partly how good he is at mixing his own stuff. I think some of the more, I don't know, like cinematically sweeping stuff that's more like, you know, not necessarily that, you know, anthemic style that he has, that might lose something.
Phil's stuff works. Like, I know what you mean, like Hearthstone is a really big difference. I think it's the more emotional tracks, the slower ones where there's no room for error, really, there's nowhere to hide.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the ones that would be the hardest, or that would probably suffer the most, I guess. I think Richard's stuff is okay, especially if he updates the digital tracks that he's supplied. Because he uses digital on like all of his trend stuff, and that works. So I don't know, man. Like, we've got to troubleshoot it and think. But as far as it saying no, it wouldn't work, or no, we wouldn't do that, I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And I think we're getting more calls to include more music than we are for people who are complaining about the digital sound versus the live sound.
I think I could be on board with that. Sounds like Richard's on board with it, so I think I'd be mostly interested in doing that for some of, like, the more fast-paced stuff. So okay, then with goal 2, we would write new music and also orchestrate and record it. If we don't reach, and I lost Ace again, so let's give another call. Okay, we're just coming back online. We had a hiccup. There's Say again.
I told you saying you agree with me and I'm right.
You tend to. This is why you cut off the phone so often, isn't it? Because you know. I'm right. Click. Bye.
I would say that it's worth exploring. And maybe don't give him a commitment beyond that. Just let him know that we're gonna explore every option, and we need to get through the Kickstarter first, and then we'll be in touch with everybody as we progress.
Okay, so pending
30-minute conversation for a 2-second answer.
That's right. Okay, so with goal 2, we would write new music and also orchestrate and record it. Depending on what happens, though, we will explore every option.
Yes. There you go. There you go.
30 minutes for 2 sentences. Great.
There you go, right? That pretty much is very symbolic of how this whole process has been.
That's right. Okay, so next question, and I'm just running back to make sure I didn't miss anything because I refreshed again. All right, so are we... Oh, what happened?
What?
I think my answer... Oh, there it is. Whew! I thought my answer got lost. Okay, now we're back to the desert. Hobo, will there be tracks for the interludes or just the more prominent chapter? Best of luck hitting the goal number.
Oh, baby. Okay, so interludes, I've got a secret plan for the interludes, but it's not for this album. That's something we have to negotiate, or I should say renegotiate with with Dragon Steel. on future. It would be a future album. I would probably devote an entire album to just the interludes, because I think that they're basically like novellas that are stretched out over a couple of books.
Yeah.
So I think that there's enough there that we could fill a full album. And I'm freaky excited for Reeson's stuff. Reeson, I don't know how to say her name. I call her.
Okay, so back over here.
Really excited.
So we don't have anything planned for the interludes for this album. We'd love to treat the interludes to their own dedicated album.
Yes. But we do have to talk to Dragon Steel about that later.
Okay. Okay. Desert Hobo answered. All right, CC Stat. You said in your interview on 17th Shard that you hope this project is able to crack the code and open up the genre of book soundtracks.
I did.
In your view, what will it take to make that actually happen? Other book soundtracks, I only know of a handful, haven't had your cinematic approach or anything approaching your production quality. Do you think those factors will make enough of a difference for this to take off generally?
I do. I really do. I think that that's the secret. I think a lot of people in the past have tried to write music as an accompaniment to the book, but there's no way to gauge that, to like track that or control it accurately, because everybody reads at different paces and not everybody likes music to their soundtracks. But we're taking it as more of like a fandom approach, where if people just want to visit that world, they want to feel that same feeling when they read the book, but maybe you're in your car and you can't read, or you don't have the audiobooks or the graphic audio version, and you just want to be transported, or you want to just, that's what this is. And I think that nothing does that more than movie soundtracks. That's why they're so powerful. Mm-hmm. They're like Neo in the Matrix, there's like a direct conduit to our souls. There's something very special about movie music. So I do think that the production value is what's missed. And I think the cinematic approach to the way we're telling the story, the way we choreograph the music and orchestrate it, I think that we've got something. The response to this on an executive level, just from all the people we had to get permission from, everybody's so excited about it, and they're really just seeing kind of our first draft mock-up music that is unpolished and unfinished, and that's getting people excited. It's gotten us this far. The thing will be, if this is a success, this will be the thing that gets people, that encourages other people that it can be done. It shows them how to do it. It will encourage investors to take a chance on other musical endeavors that are done at the same level. So yeah, I really think that we've got the formula, but it really all will depend on the success of this first album. So that's where the Kickstarter has such high stakes. Have fun interpreting that. Sorry, that was a long answer, but
yeah, no kidding. I cannot type that fast. It was a great answer. And, well, maybe we can replay the live stream, huh?
Right.
So, let's see here. So here's what I've got. We absolutely do think that's the secret. A lot of people in the past have tried to write music as an accompaniment to the book, but there's no way to track that globally because there's no way to know people's reading speeds. But we're taking another approach. People want to listen to the music and be transported. And that's all I've got for that portion. And then I heard a bunch more stuff.
I would say the cinematic approach because there's something very special about movie music in particular.
We're taking a cinematic approach because there's something special about movie music in general. People want to listen to the music and be transported. If this is a success, this will be the thing that unlocks the genre. It will show people what can be done on this level. It will encourage investors. It will prove the idea.
Yes. Yes. I think we've got all the ingredients. We just have to make sure that if our first endeavor fails, then it will be one of those things that came so close. And really, the only thing that would knock this down is the money. It's so expensive to make. But if we can do it, then it's on us to prove that it can generate a profit. But first we have to be able to make the album the way we want to prove our hypothesis. I used such a big word. I'm so proud of myself.
Hypothesis. I didn't even hear you say it. We have all the ingredients, and the only thing that will knock this down is the money. Period. That is why the Kickstarter has such high stakes.
There we go.
I did not get everything you said. I wish I did. It was so awesome, but I will post that after I reread it.
All right, I'm answering it's got really quiet because I'm answering a question. Richard's asking me a question.
I added to what I just told you, by the way. I said the only thing that will knock this down is the money. But if we can show that it works and that it's profitable, this will be the beginning of something larger.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Good job, Mike. Mind reader.
I just listen. That's what I do.
I just listen. That's an amazing skill you have.
I don't even need to think. I just listen. That's all.
There you go.
All right, Fantine. How do you get the ball rolling on a project like this logistically? Wow. And this is another one where we say, how much time do you have?
Reward goes to Mike. And he's kamikaze like, let's do this, Leroy Jenkins.
There we go. How about I just put that? Can I just put that?
That is exactly it. We take forever to strategize, and you're like, exactly.
Leroy Jenkins.
You are Leroy Jenkins.
All right, I'm just putting that, okay? Is that okay with you?
Now, there's the question.
Huh?
Maybe we should link these Predators. They know what Leroy Jenkins is.
Yeah. that is the perfect answer.
That is exactly. Exactly.
All right.
Yes, okay.
All right.
That makes me cry. I'm laughing so hard.
All right, we've got a repeat from CC Stat. Not a repeat question, but a repeat person. Which song from your past projects are you most proud of? All right, I guess I will answer that. Ask Richard to answer that as well.
Ricardo.
You're going to have to type down. I'm going to have to think about this. Am I proud? What am I? I've got a couple. I have two that I'm most proud of. Here's a link to one of them. And now I have to go get a link. Okay. Which is a nice SoundCloud. Which It's not the Black Piper. What's Richard saying?
He's thinking, this is my first music album that I've produced, but I have composed music, but I've never really put myself out there as an official musician, even though I've been performing and writing and composing my whole life pretty much.
Wait, is this you or Richard? Sorry.
This is me. I'm just kind of filling the space.
Oh, I see. Well, if you want to type something up and send it to me, feel free, but you can also talk about it.
Yeah, I'll type something up later if I want.
Okay.
I was just filling in the space. Richard says the song he's most proud of is The Tower, because he wrote it in 10 hours and it still works. Like, he really nailed that song, and he did.
But that's not a past project, though.
I'll ask him, but
Past project.
he's thinking about it.
Yeah. I've got two.
He's on Twitter.
I don't have.
I still have that on Twitter. Thank you for following us. Refreshing the page. Richard's typing. This is happening. Thinking. He says, oh, besides that, my first live band song. Where should I post this? Can you see this?
I could look.
Can you copy and paste?
I'll just type it up. If he has any links to it. Gem of Discovery.
Gems of Discovery. There were no strings, and although it was his first, it sounds awesome. I love it when you guys own your power. That's right. You are awesome.
I was pretty happy with Wandersail because wasn't able to mock it up because I was writing that partially on the plane ride over to Prague to record, and then also partially in Venice in the hotel while everyone is out having fun in Venice, riding gondolas, walking around. I'm in the hotel room writing Wandersail in a notation program, basically notating it rather than using a computer to mock it up. And here's Say on the other side of the world, fretting about it. It's going to be terrible because I'm not going to get to hear it, and it's going to suck. And so we record it, and I knew that it was going to be good. I could hear it in my head, but all that we got in the recording were some strings and some winds, and it just, for Say, I mean, I'll let her tell the story, but like it wasn't. You thought it was terrible.
I did. I told you no.
And then I took it and I said, you know what? You haven't heard the whole thing. You've just heard like a really naked version of this thing. Let me dress it up. And so I took it back and I put it in the computer. I did a proper mock-up on it with brass and choir and all sorts of good stuff. Not the flute yet. That's to come. But I mocked this thing, sent it back to Say, and her reaction was...
Oh, sorry. I was
dead silence!
That's basically it. No, I admit, Mike totally schooled me. I can usually pick up on the subtleties of orchestration and fill in the blanks, but I couldn't. I had a major block with what he sent me, and I was thoroughly unimpressed with what he sent me from Venice, and I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure. We should devote our recording minutes to that. And we recorded it, and I was I still was just like, Wonder Sail is so cool, man. This isn't Wonder Sail material. It's a good song. And Mike insists, like, this, by the way, I think was a 3-year conversation. Let's just be honest. This was like back and forth of me, no, heck no. I just shot him down something like Mike is bulletproof, but he believed in his song, and he insisted that that it wasn't complete. And then he sends me one night, like I think it was October last year, maybe a year ago.
Maybe.
Mike sent me his MIDI track. He's like, tell me what you think of this song. And he did not tell me that it was Wonder Sail. And I loved it. It was just like, this is incredible. And I was fishing. I'm like, so is this from one of your movies that you're doing? Is it a commercial? Like, is it? It kind of would suit Wonder Sail. Like, if you had done this, I would have said yes. It's like, hey, cool.
This is what we recorded.
I'm like, what? I was blown away. So I'm really excited about the elements that he's added to Wonder Sail. And now that I hear it, because Wonder Sail is a very complex song. There are basically 7 parts to it, just story-wise. Like it's a beast of a song. Not to mention the magic that is going on, and Mike kind of nails it with Wonder Sail. I'm actually very excited. I love listening to it now. So,
I'm pretty happy about it too.
He won his argument.
I won the 3-year argument.
The 3-year argument. I was just like, nothing you can say will ever make me change my mind. So there's that. But he did. He didn't have to say anything, though. He just finished writing the song. I was listening to something that was incomplete. And that's actually a really good lesson that kind of symbolizes any of the doubters on the project, because that really is. If you wonder, like, what's the difference between the digital versus the live recordings, or if you're worried about the quality and sound, our playlist that we've got now published, we've already recorded. We just need to mix it, and that makes a huge difference. Some of it that you're listening to doesn't have the soloists, like with Wonder Sail, and that's a big difference. So, anyways, yeah, that's Mike wins with Wonder Sail. Richard has attached a copy of his song, and he also mentioned his first student Emmy he's pretty proud of.
Oh, I didn't even see anything about that. I already hit go on the thingamajigger.
What?
I can edit it.
Yeah, add it in, because that's a big deal.
Where did it go?
Okay, and what is it?
Maybe also my first student Emmy masterpiece for BYU animation. Save. Okay. Are there, you want to look at what we have left and chime in on anything that you'd like to chime in on, say, because I'm thinking, and it's 9 o'clock, I said we could be here for a while, but you have an article to write for Fantasy Faction, so I can finish up answering some of these things. What's that?
This is so fun. Don't send me away. I'll do it in the morning.
I know. We just don't have much time left. We've gotten to Monday is our last day of the Kickstarter. Monday.
I honestly don't know that I have the physical ability to do both of those tonight. And I have to do our design our business cards.
Oh, man.
I got craps to do, man.
That's true. Maybe what we should do is I could just start answering some of these, and then you can come back with SSN on a few of them, in between things.
Let me clock out at 10, because we've simplified our Comic-Con plan incredibly. so it's a lot easier to do now. It won't take nearly as long as it was taking earlier. So I can do that as I'm kind of winding down for the night. So let's do this.
That article.
I've got about another hour in me, so I'll clock out at 10 and let you do that from there. We're almost done. We're not almost done. We're like 15%. We're basically at where we are with our Kaladin, with our Kickstarter. We're 54%.
Yeah. Professor Apex, says, I love the idea of this project and can't wait to see it completed. Are there any plans on making further albums for the later books, such as albums titled Shallan, Dalinar, Eshonai, etc.? I'm just going to copy and paste her answer from before, if that's okay.
Yeah, that is exactly like. I would clarify that also. Those are the titles. Like, yes, Shallan will have her own album. Dalinar will have his. Yes, that's the idea.
Except I don't know where.
We answer that question in the 17th Shard interview.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'll just link to that. Copy and paste. Reply. Okay. So, yes, we'd love to do more albums. Well, we'll have to go back to Dragonsteel, or how would you put that?
Yeah, we're only negotiated for the Kaladin album. We've only got a contract for this one album. But we would like to do other albums for Shallan and Dalinar, etc. But those are things we have to go back and renegotiate with Dragonsteel. Yeah. And that negotiation will sorely depend on the success of this album.
We'd love to do more albums. We only currently have a contract for this album, and we'll have to go back to negotiate further albums for the other characters. Those negotiations, as you just mentioned,
yes,
will depend heavily on the success of this album. All right, safe. Brain Surgeon, how did you two get the idea to do a book soundtrack? Did you read the book before deciding to make the soundtrack, or vice versa? Reply.
Leroy!
Vice versa. Vice versa. Also, Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I would say I was genuinely surprised when you chose an actual story. I was being metaphorical when I told you that we needed your album needed to tell a story. Just because your themes were so vague, you wanted to tell something inspiring and something that captures the darkness of, I believe is how you described it. And I was just like, that could be reggae music, that could be cinema music, that could be, religious music, it could be jazz music. Like, there's so many interpretations to that, and I was just like, dude, it's a little unfocused. So I was genuinely shocked that you went so literal with my advice, and that you decided to go with a book that was not in the public domain, let alone the Stormlight Archive. I mean, I just had a heart attack. It's like, this is going to be a really big and expensive project. It's also Brandon Sanderson, and the book was amazing. So I had not read the book yet. You introduced me to the book. You're onto the Cosmere. This is my first Cosmere read.
That was great for our YouTube fans. So what
sorry.
Short answer.
Short answer was initially no. We where is his question? How did you get the idea to do a book soundtrack? miscommunication.
Well,
you read the book. You were reading the book, and the book inspired the idea, right?
Nope.
No?
So I'd actually had the idea for a book soundtrack for years before this. Yeah. Richard Paul Evans, an author, worked with Paul Cardell. No, is that his name? Cardell.
Paul Cardell, the pianist?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He had done a sort of soundtrack for Richard's book. The Music Box, was it? I don't know. I have to go back and look.
Yeah.
And
was it Paul Cardell? I thought that was Michael McLean.
No, it was Paul Cardell.
Oh.
And anyway, so like that was just something that was kind of in the back of my mind for the longest time. I'd even actually approached another author at one point about doing a book soundtrack, but that was when I was way wet behind the ears and I hadn't gone to school for music and I had no idea what I was doing. I thought it would have been cool, but you know, it never panned out. She thought it would be cool too, but you know, again, didn't happen. And so when you talked about having a story for music, the two ideas just connected, and I thought, okay, why don't we find a book? And so I actually took the idea to a coworker at the time, and I said, these are the elements we want in our story. We want it to have light. We wanted there to be a theme of light in it. We wanted something about redemption and you know, someone coming back from the edge, and you know those kinds of ideas. And he said, you know, I've got the perfect book for you, and he gave me The Way of Kings, and I was like, all right, let me take a look at it. I didn't read the book before we approached Brandon, but he told me about it, and I thought the story would be perfect. And so that's when I went to Brandon, and I said, you know, I emailed him, told him our idea and stuff. And I think at first they were hesitant, and maybe they were until we actually sent them what Phil had already written, Sill's theme, and he had written it for our initial idea, which wasn't attached to a book or anything. But when we listened to it and we thought about the book, we thought that his theme would be perfect for Sill. And so we sent that to Brandon, said, this is Sill's theme. They loved it, and we got the green light. So that's kind of what happened.
I didn't know that before. Because I gave him some pretty specific guidelines on what I wanted Sill's theme to sound like, and he nailed it. He wrote that before?
Yep.
What?
Yep. In fact, the first drafts of that thing, in the movie world, we abbreviate stuff. Like when we're working on, you know, if we work on, say, Fantastic Beasts, you abbreviate FB or something, right? And then the Q number and whatever else. Well, in the original drafts that he sent me, the abbreviation was ITL, which was Into the Light, version 1, version 2, whatever it was. And so, yeah, it was written before any of that. So.
Who knew? That's like kismet, because that just kind of goes to show, like, you've got to create when the muse calls to you, because you never know where your stuff will end up and how it can affect people. That's crazy.
I know. Never knew that, huh?
No. I totally thought he was being responsive to my feedback. I've been working under my whole life is a lie.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, so did you explain that?
No, because I can't talk and type at the same time. I'm sending you a message, by the way.
That was a cool story.
Yeah, it was an interesting story, but...
How did you get the idea to do a book soundtrack? Tell him that the idea had been brimming in the back of your mind for a while, for years, but it wasn't until I told you needed your album needed to tell a story that the two ideas clicked. And a friend recommended The Way of Kings, and when we both read it, we were like, yeah, this is the story.
That's perfect. There you go. Soundtrack for years.
We can be brave. We're professional.
I sent you a message, brother.
I can see that.
Let's see. The idea can bring you back. Put our music to a story. There's that awkward silence again.
Yeah, sorry, I'm typing back to you. You're typing and I'm typing.
Yeah.
You got this. Still typing awkwardly. Sorry, everybody.
Nothing to see here. The idea had been brimming in the back of my mind to do a soundtrack for years, but it wasn't until Say suggested to put our music to a story that the idea clicked. I asked a coworker for a recommendation, and he suggested The Way of Kings. He told me about this story, and I knew it was perfect for what we wanted. All right, we're going to take one more question over the live stream, and then we're going to close up the live stream and just finish answering these. I'm getting sleepy.
Yeah. We're long days, guys, and we've got, Mike and I still have a boatload of work to do. We're still going to be answering our AMAs, our Ask Me Anythings over on Reddit, so we're going to be active over there. And honestly, our answers will probably start to be a little bit more comprehensive. And we'll just keep answering those questions as much as we can. But we've got a few other homework assignments to do before we both go to bed. And it's getting late. So,
well,
one more question.
This question will be an easy one. How many of you have read the series?
Me.
Raise his hand.
I did raise my hand.
Well, I know. I'm typing that literally.
Here. Especially
SSN.
And I'm a cheater. I totally am reading the Oathbringer preview chapters. So I'm dedicated.
Yep.
I can't believe that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
So we're pretty dedicated to the series. There we go. I put SSN raises hand. MB also raises hand. And then I said a few of our other members also have read them. We're pretty dedicated to the series. RW lowers hand. Alrighty, I think that concludes our incredibly boring and awesome at the same time live stream for our Reddit answering. Thanks for watching or listening.
We're hilarious. Talking.
Well, I'm hilarious looking.
No, you're not. You give yourself some love. You're handsome. Quit making it about you. Just kidding.
Natalie said she tried to resist the preview chapters, but the temptation was too strong.
I know, I caved after like 10 minutes. I'm never going to read. Ooh, they're out?
I would have caved, except I'm actually doing work, for this project.
It's research. That's how I unplug.
Yeah.
And man, some people can't take cat naps. I read the preview chapters.
and I just
Everything.
barrel through everything.
And I make you do, and you do all of the work.
Richard says we can tell them his secret that he composes without reading in shame.
In shame.
Shame.
Shame. But also awesome.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't read the books, and neither is Phil, I don't think. Or Caleb. I think Sandy's read them.
Mm-hmm. Sandy's read them.
Huge fan. Christine's read them.
I'm not sure if she has.
Richard was not. And Richard had to do all of the action music, which means he has to choreograph. His music truly needs to not just create a feeling, but it needs to evoke action that best represents not just a magic world, but complex physicality. And he nailed it. So, like, Richard is the bomb. If not a true Stormlight. And he's a kick-butt musician and composer. That's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
Everybody loves his stuff.
It's true. He is the most loved of all the composers. That said, however, on future ones, we are going to make everyone read everything. The end.
We are. It's more professional. Like, film composers know their source material when they're working on the films, and we need to step that up, I think. But for where this really wasn't, we didn't anticipate this being such a big deal when we started. So, and he was going to school when he was writing this. He was at the Emmys when we were writing this. Like, he was graduating. I mean, there was a lot that he was working. Yep. There was a lot on his plate. So, I get it.
Yeah, we get it.
But he's an amazing composer. Yeah. Okay, Smokey, we're going to wrap this up, people, and head over to Reddit and pick up our convos there and start answering via type so that we can multitask a little bit better with our to-do list. So
thanks for joining us. It's been awesome, especially having Natalie and talking about muffins.
Yes. Muffins.
Sorry, I mentioned that again.
Best question.
Yep.
Now I want chocolate muffins. Okay. So you go ahead and just when you're typing, just type MB for you, and I'll type SSN, and I'll wave.
Sounds good.
I'll weigh in if I need to. But I'm going to start working on the business cards.
Sounds awesome. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.